There has been a lot of hubbub about a recent released movie called Don't Worry Darling, directed by Olivia Wilde. There has been a lot of speculation on what happened on set, what the relationship between Olivia Wilde and Harry Styles was on and off set, how that affected the main star Florence Pugh, their Shia LaBeouf drama, all of that. I'm going to get into that in a later review, a spoiler-filled review that will be coming out later this week. But for today, I am focusing on a spoiler-free review for Olivia Wilde's newest film, Don't Worry Darling. Don't Worry Darling stars Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, Kiki Lane, Nick Kroll, and Olivia Wilde. This film released earlier this week in theaters, and it has been the much discussion since its release. And guess what? I actually had a lot of positive thoughts about this movie, which I will get into. Thank you for watching the Beniverse. My name is Ben Friedman, and today I am reviewing the newest Olivia Wilde film, Don't Worry Darling, right after this. So Don't Worry Darling, there has been much discussion about this film, again, due to the drama around it. This had such a negative response pre its release, and yet this film still was able to gross $30 million. This is a film that has been much maligned by the critical consensus. I believe it's currently sitting at a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes, and yet it's at a 79% approximately for audience review. So there is a divide going on. This has been a really tumultuous turnout for this movie. Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Olivia Wilde, the drama's been all over. Did Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine? Again, I'll have more on that later this week. But let's just focus on a spoiler-free review today for Don't Worry Darling. For those who do not know what the movie is about, it follows Alice and Jack Chambers, played by Florence Pugh and Harry Styles, respectively. These two characters live in the idealized community of Victory, an experimental company town housing the men who work on a top-secret project. But one day, Alice discovers there is a dark secret to this 1950s paradise, thus putting their lives in danger. Here's the biggest reason I am giving this film a positive review, and it's centered solely on its main star, Florence Pugh, as Alice Chambers. Florence Pugh is absolutely electric in this film. She is giving a standout performance. It makes every actor around her look weak by comparison. Harry Styles, who's been mocked relentlessly for his accent, for his anger scenes in the film, he is actually not bad in this film. I think he pulls off the charismatic well when the character shifts to a more angry person. It doesn't work, and his transformation as an actor is not particularly convincing. But again, the reason Don't Worry Darling is interesting is because of Florence Pugh. She is absolutely incredible in this film. She balances the emotion, the fright, and just the confusion of what is going on. She is a perfect protagonist for us to follow along and dive into this world. She's kind of Alice falling into Wonderland, and we're on this journey with her, and we believe her every step. We are terrified for her. She is an incredible actress with a really bright future, and she is legitimately, if they campaign for her for a Best Actress nomination, I wouldn't be shocked. She's that good in this film. She's one of the best performers I've seen. I love Florence Pugh already. This might be one of her best performances in such a young career, and I can't wait to see more of her. But besides her, besides Florence Pugh, there is also a lot that I can recommend about this film. First, as much crap as Olivia Wilde has gotten for this press release, for everything that has been going on, for the Shia LaBeouf rumors, for the alleged affair, she directs the hell out of this movie. This film looks stunning. This film has great tension. This film has great performances. Not only Florence Pugh, but as well as Chris Pine. Chris Pine is a very convincing villain in this film, but he's not a traditional mustache twirling villain. There's layers to this character. There is just some amazing choices made throughout this direction that really just shows how great of a talent Olivia Wilde is. I liked her first film, Booksmart, quite a lot, and this film is such an ambitious rise from her previous film. It has a much bigger budget, has a much more ambitious story behind it, And I think she actually does a really good job given how bad the story is. And I have to criticize that. The story is a mess. The screenplay is written by a woman named Katie Silberman, who wrote previous films that Olivia Wilde directed, such as Booksmart. She comes back and writes the screenplay for this. It's a mess by the third act. I found this film very intriguing, and then by the time it gets to the third act, it kind of burns all of the goodwill to the point that you're wondering, does this film even hold together or make sense? For instance, there's scenes in the movie that seem like they are so important at the beginning of the film, and that you could almost call them the catalyst for Alice's journey, and they never come back in the third act. They never explain it in any meaningful way. There's also characters who are introduced, and the film by the end just has to kind of tie their story in a bow. They have to do away with these characters. They have to kind of explain it so the film can end. This film doesn't have a cohesive ending because it feels like the film was written with this great premise, and then they're like, how do we end the film? And the honest answer was they didn't know how to end this film. So all of it, all the whole ending of this film just feels like, okay, we need to end this film. Thus, this character, something needs to happen here. Something needs to happen to this character. That way this can happen. Conclusion. And it doesn't work. It really burns all the goodwill out of this film. However, I can still say there is a lot of positive in it. The production design is incredible in this film. This film just looks beautiful than most movies that come out every year. There is good performers, like I've already mentioned. There is good sensibilities. Olivia Wilde has a really keen eye for directing tension and thriller. There are some horror aspects of this movie. This is not a horror film, but this film does tiptoe that line of just psychological thriller, and it does so very well in a way that I wasn't expecting it to. This film is not comprehensive. Like I said, Don't Worry Darling has its mess. By the third act, you are just left puzzled. I left this film more confused than I was happy about it. I do not know if I can rewatch Don't Worry Darling. There's so many moments of the story that just get washed away. There's so much that doesn't make sense the more you think about it. However, I can say I enjoyed my time watching it. And let me just say, this film is 2 hours and 10 minutes. It is about 20 to 25 minutes too long. There needed to be some editing. But the fact that it was able to keep me invested throughout, even through an ending that I thought was just messy, is a testament to this film. With that all said, I'm going to recommend Don't Worry Darling. I think this film is ambitious filmmaking, and I want to see directors take these big swings and miss. And boy, let me tell you, this film misses at times, but I'd still rather see this film than half the schlock we get each year, because there's a passion in the filmmaking, and Florence Pugh is incredible. I'd watch this performance all day. She is electric in this movie, and I love Florence Pugh. She is a great actress, and she is deserving of all the respect, and she carries her weight in this movie and more. So with that all said, my review of Don't Worry Darling, I'm giving it 2.5 out of 4 stars. I'm curious to see if I go back and revisit Don't Worry Darling. There's a part of me that says I want to go see it again, and there's also another part of me that says the investment will not lead to anything again. However, I'm going to make that decision, and I'll be able to talk more about that in my spoiler review coming out later this week. Thank you all who watched this video. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and like this video here on the Beneverse. Hit that subscribe button right now. My name is Ben Friedman here from the Beneverse. Thank you all for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.